What if I told you that the city of Birmingham, a landlocked English city with no coastline, no major river through its center, quietly built more miles of canal than Venice? That a single factory here invented the modern assembly line, decades before Henry Ford was even born? That underneath the bars and apartments of a trendy waterside neighborhood lies one of the most ambitious engineering projects Britain ever attempted? This is the story of how Birmingham built itself an empire out of water, brick, and steam. Birmingham, Britain's second-largest city. No natural harbor, no navigable river running through its heart, and yet it became one of the most important industrial centers on Earth. How does a city with no water advantage end up controlling one of the densest transport networks in the world? The answer isn't luck. It's 170 miles of hand-dug canal, built brick by brick, lock by lock, to move an entire industrial revolution. Here's the problem Birmingham faced in the 1760s. It was becoming one of the busiest manufacturing towns in England, producing buttons, buckles, tools, and guns, but it had no real way to move heavy goods in or out. Roads were rutted dirt tracks. A single packhorse could carry perhaps 200 pounds. Coal, the fuel the entire town depended on, had to be hauled in overland from mines miles away, and it cost a fortune by the time it arrived. Birmingham's factories were booming, but its transport system belonged to the Middle Ages. So Birmingham's businessmen did something radical. In 1769, engineer James Brindley completed the Birmingham Canal, connecting the town directly to the coalfields of the Black Country. The effect was almost immediate. The price of coal in Birmingham reportedly fell by half within months. Word spread fast. Over the next several decades, canal after canal was cut through the region, all built by hand, using pickaxes, shovels, and sheer manpower. The workers who dug them became known as navvies, short for navigators, a name that would later apply to laborers across the entire British Canal Age. You've probably heard the claim, Birmingham has more miles of canal than Venice. It's a favorite local boast, and it's technically true, but with a catch. Venice's historic canal system runs to around 26 miles, packed into an island city just a few square miles wide. Birmingham's core canal network covers roughly 35 miles, and if you count the full Birmingham Canal navigation system, linking Birmingham to the wider Black Country, that number climbs to around 100 miles today, and reached as much as 160 or more at its Victorian peak. So yes, more miles, but spread across a much larger city. Venice built for gondolas and romance. Birmingham built for coal barges and profit. While the canals were being dug, something else was happening a few miles from the city center. In 1766, businessman Matthew Boulton built the Soho Manufactory on Handsworth Heath. It wasn't just a workshop, it was designed from the ground up around a new idea: divide the work into small, repeatable steps, and let each worker specialize in one part of the process. Historians consider it one of the earliest true factories in the world. It produced everything from buttons and buckles to silverware, and later, in partnership with the Scottish engineer James Watt, it became the birthplace of Watt's improved steam engine, the machine that would go on to power the entire Industrial Revolution. Boulton didn't work alone. He was part of an informal club of scientists, engineers, and thinkers who called themselves the Lunar Society, nicknamed because they scheduled their meetings around the full moon, so members could actually see their way home afterward on unlit roads. This small Birmingham dinner club included Boulton, James Watt, and the physician Erasmus Darwin, grandfather of Charles Darwin. Historians consider it one of the most influential informal gatherings of the entire Industrial Revolution, shaping ideas in steam power, chemistry, and manufacturing that would ripple across the world. Boulton and Watt's engineer, William Murdoch, made his own mark on history at their Soho works. In 1802, he lit the outside of the Soho foundry using gas, a public demonstration that stunned local residents who had never seen anything like it. Within a few decades, gas street lighting was installed along Birmingham's canal locks, allowing boats to keep moving through the night. The city that had no natural water advantage was now running its transport network around the clock. By the late 1800s, the Birmingham Canal navigations were carrying an estimated 8.5 million tons of cargo a year. On the busiest days, so many narrowboats converged on the Black Country collieries at once that boatmen described a near-tidal surge moving through the water. Locks operated day and night. Boats were built without cabins to maximize cargo space. This wasn't a scenic waterway, it was the industrial bloodstream of an empire, carrying coal, iron, and finished goods in and out of the world's workshop. But nothing stays dominant forever. Railways arrived in the 1830s and 40s, faster and cheaper for long-distance freight. Then came motor lorries in the 20th century. By 1980, all commercial traffic on Birmingham's canals had stopped. For a while, the network that had powered an empire sat rusting, overgrown, and largely forgotten, a relic of an industrial age that had moved on without it. And yet here we are. Today, Birmingham's canals have found a second life. Gas Street Basin, once the industrial hub of the network, is now lined with bars, restaurants, and apartments. Brindley Place and the wider Canalside district draw millions of visitors a year. Narrowboats that once hauled coal and iron now carry tourists and residents past converted Victorian warehouses. The infrastructure built to move the Industrial Revolution never disappeared, it simply changed what it carries. So the next time you walk past a quiet canal in the middle of a modern city, remember what it once was, not a decoration, not a backdrop for coffee shops, but the arteries of an industrial empire. Birmingham didn't have a river to give it power. It built its own network instead, by hand, mile by mile, and changed the world from a landlocked town in the English Midlands. If this surprised you, subscribe, because there's always another layer hiding beneath the water.